well-known democracy and citizenship promotion institution based in Mumbai, Maharashtra. I want to welcome you all. I am Professor Sriram Chawliya. Skill and commitment. We are also going to be joined by two very distinguished literary and cultural figures on the stage. The great Odia poet, writer and essayist Haraprasad Das. Sir, apna asile bahut dhanyawad. We all are very fortunate to be in the era of Narendra Modi. This is an era. Kodia Basso is not a small thing. He has never lost an election since 2001 when he was first made Gujarat Chief Minister. Of Modi ji's tenure as a head of government is to try and review this historic personality and what he has done, because he's so contemporary and he's defining modern India in the 21st century. Perspective the idea is to just look at him and to review some of his key attributes and contributions to public life and to governance. We are trying to cover a few of the prominent attributes of Narendra Modi ji and why he has been such a colossus. All the speakers who have agreed to come and address the audience, and I hope we will fill up soon with people coming on the way. But the whole purpose of this is for us to reflect at the state level how somebody starting as a chai wala could actually remake the world's largest democracy. Just think about the journey, and if you step back a little bit, it's an extraordinary career. And sometimes because of the heat political moment, we don't realize the historical significance of what Narendra Modi ji has been doing. So that is the whole purpose of this, and no better person to inaugurate this than Honorable Ganesh Lal ji, who of course has known Honorable Prime Minister for so long and has been worked with him for several decades, and to reflect upon him. So it's really extraordinary honor for us that Governor Sahab has come. And I want to begin by requesting Haraprasad Das Babu, who's very famous literary figure and scholar and one of the literary geniuses of Odisha. And I would request him to first address us and share his thoughts. He has been writing on nationalism and the importance of national consciousness in the country and in Odisha for a long time. And he is one of the few genuine intellectuals that we have who has tried to motivate the youth of Odisha and of the country to think big and to think about the construct of nationhood in his own unique way. So to begin with, I'll request Haraprasad Das Babu to please share his thoughts, sir. Please welcome him.
Your Excellency, the Honorable Governor of Odisha, the chairperson of this particular session, ladies and gentlemen. That we are discussing delivery of democracy in an established democracy is in itself a problematic situation. But I understand why exactly you must address the issue of delivery of democracy in a democracy. The inspiration for this doesn't lie in the Indian intellectual climate. The atmosphere has been created by someone else. So I must begin by alerting you to the inspiration for this subject matter itself. How has Narendra Modi delivered democracy in India during the 20 years of his stewardship of a state and the government of India? Ladies and gentlemen, on 9th and 10th December, the President of the United States of America convened the Global Summit for Democracies. And you would be surprised to know that India was invited as one of the partial democracies and was not allowed to be in the sanctum sanctorum of the democratic countries, the full democracies. Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, made his statement as an invitee, but not as one of the core members who held a closed door meeting. And would you believe who were the other countries present there? Of course, there were 39 European countries. And there is a country called Antigua and Barbuda, if you have heard the name. Antigua and Barbuda is a full democracy, having scored 8 out of 10 in a survey that was done by an agency for the Americans. Antigua and Barbuda, hold your heart, has a population of 97,000, and that's a full democracy. And India is a partial democracy, therefore not allowed to enter the sanctum sanctorum. Ladies and gentlemen, the agencies which do this survey are the agencies which are the handmaids of the European and American countries, who are hell-bent to prove that India is a non-starter. India is not an equal. Can you believe that these two agencies have been funded by the Democrats? The present president is very much a party to it. His predecessors were, and they were working secretly during Donald Trump's time. And after Trump's decline, they have come to the fore. One of these organizations is called the Freedom. The organization's name is Freedom. Another one, I will have to find out the name for this. There's a Vandem. One is Vandem, the other one is Freedom Home. Freedom Home and Vandem. Vandem means varieties of democracy. That is the meaning of Vandem. And Freedom Home is, of course, in quest of freedom. These two agencies have done this survey and have found that India is a partial democracy. And the interesting thing is, in 2020, it had passed. In 2020, India was a full democracy. In 2021, it is not. Because the human index figures have slumped. And what are those figures which are slumped, and who is responsible for it? Can you believe that the report says Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, is responsible for it? So, the Euro-American countries deserve a fitting answer and a complete condemnation of the manner in which they are trying to prove that India is not a full democracy. So, the choice of this subject is particularly significant because a message must go loud and clear that India is not subdued by these kinds of antiques, and we have means of responding to this challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, the reasons that they have cited as to why India is not a full democracy is, let me give you the reasons for that. One is that there is religious intolerance in India. Then there is suppression of separatist movement. Then there is majoritarianism. Then Mr. Modi's style of governance. Then suppression of minorities. And thereafter, ill-treatment of farm labor. And then lastly, discriminating on the basis of eligibility for citizenship for those who are oppressed outside other religions, suppression of Islam. Nothing could be further from truth. This is complete falsehood. And I wonder why we as a country have not taken notice of this scandalous statistics and impression on opinion and have allowed it to pass into the register of the world's conscience. It requires a condemnation. But these are the grounds. And who is the main perpetrator of all this is Narendra Modi. And why is Narendra Modi the problem for the West European countries and the Americans? Because he works as an equal with them. They are accustomed to prime ministers and presidents of other countries kowtowing to their leadership and begging for assistance. They are not accustomed to their president being called Barack. They are not accustomed to an Indian Prime Minister walking tall with the American President. So they have to find a means of undermining your presence, and these are the reasons which have been given. Now, Freedom House has a list of ideologues who have been providing them the intellectual arsenal. I was scrutinizing that list to find out who is that intellectual, or who are those intellectuals who are providing intellectual input to this organization. And I came across one name which is very critical. The name of that person is Francis Fukuyama. Many of you may be aware of this name. This is the man who said history has ended. History has ended because ideology has ended. Ideology has ended because capital is undermined. So undermining of capitalism is the end of ideology and therefore end of history. Now these people are only familiar with 400 years of history for the United States of America. They are not aware, they cannot even imagine what it means to be a person born in a country which has a civilization of 7,000 years and more. So, the leadership profile of an Indian is completely unknown to them. So they calibrate it according to their own requirements. They judge us by their microscope or periscope or telescope, whatever they have, and then come to a hasty conclusion that we are not democratic enough to sit beside them and share the fruits of the world's honor. Ladies and gentlemen, there has to be a word of caution for the panelists who come and speak after me. As the keynote speaker, I have a responsibility. The responsibility is that while the details can be left to the panel speakers, I have to set the trend in terms of understanding the subject itself. Is democracy a product? Democracy is not a product. Products are delivered. Processes are not delivered. Processes are continuous. I have been arguing on umpteen number of occasions. I have written in columns in newspapers also that let's not look at democracy as a product. Democracy is a process. Democracy is a product for Antigua and Barbuda because there are 97,000 people. Democracy can be a product when 25% democracy is there. But democracy cannot be a product when there are 150 crores of people. Democracy has to be a process, a never-ending process, and therefore perfecting the process is a thing which goes on and on and on, it never ends. It is like a city in the making. You never see the same city next day. You never see the complete city ever. Every day the city is being made. Something or other is being repaired. The city is being made up. Like that, democracy is a process which is continuously in the making, and therefore we have to wait indefinitely for the process to mature. Processes change, challenges also change. The bigger the country, the bigger the challenges. In other words, what we have is a kind of democracy which we have not given a name yet. We must give it a name now. The name is civilizational democracy. The democracy to which we belong is not the American democracy. It is a civilizational democracy. Historical democracy is only 400 years old. But civilizational democracy is more than 7,000 years old. All our utterances for the good welfare of mankind, for our people, have been enshrined in the religious scriptures and even in the Upanishads. So we have been practicing democracy of the highest order, but we have never articulated it. Time has come when we should articulate it and give it a name. You know what is our problem? Our problem is we do not theorize. The West has this habit. If something happens today, they would theorize it tomorrow and make it enter the text. The moment it is theorized and enters the text, students read it, appear in exams, discuss amongst themselves. Professors write books about it. Can you believe there are 27 books written on democracy after Donald Trump was defeated? Including a book whose title was, Is Democracy Dying? Donald Trump was supposed to be a danger to democracy. So the Democrats set up these agencies, and they said the democracy would die if a leader like Donald Trump comes to power. They theorized it overnight. And we started reading it, and the other day, one scholar came and spoke in the Jayadeva Bhavan, quoting from that book. But who is there to theorize for us? What we need today is a theorization of Modi, a theorization of Indian democracy, a theorization of leadership, which is emerging in the shape, pattern, and form of Narendra Modi. And that is why this meeting is extremely important for us. I have said what exactly precisely I had to say in the beginning, but let me tell you only one thing, that delivery of democracy and delivery of the deliverables of democracy are two different things. Perhaps this subject is delivery of the deliverables of democracy. When you say delivery of democracy, it appears as if we are not a democracy. Somebody is bringing democracy to us, but we are already a democracy. So let's understand this subject in the context of the deliverables of democracy. He has not delivered. There is nothing he has not delivered. As a matter of fact, I would give him a straight 10 out of 10 as a democratic leader. Let that be challenged. The other day, a friend of mine who belongs to the civil service was a little piqued because of an article which I had written, in which I had paid very high encomium to Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi is not my personal friend. Mr. Modi also doesn't wait for my approval for his rating in the country. But I have an opinion as a citizen, and I expressed it. And he said, you are being very partial and you are wrong in lionizing a person who doesn't deserve it. I said, okay, in that case, have a witness. Let's have one-to-one debate. You tell me which are those points on which is wrong. You prove it. It's now 2 months gone. He has still not appeared on the scene. And I'm waiting to meet him. Confrontation is the only way by which you can take care of the canards. So, ladies and gentlemen, Indian democracy is throbbing with life force. The life force of that throbbing democracy is Narendra Modi. So, let's pray he lives more than 100 atoms and leads India from strength to strength. And let's pray that as long as India is there, democracy should be its hallmark. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Indeed, I think somebody who has accomplished so much in the last 20 years deserves a theorization. So it's a very important point Prasad Babu has made. I hope here in Odisha and across the country, we continue to think about how to define this phenomenon who has taken the country by storm and who has so much mass support and approval over and above what his critics say, and what kind of connection he has brought between rulers and ruled, which of course is the basis of citizenship and of democracy, and how he has reduced the gap between the citizen and the state. That's something at the level of theory and through his very unique means of communication and mass contact is really worth studying. There are people who are jealous of him, who are envious of him, and who oppose him. But on the other hand, you see that I recently wrote a piece in Newsweek, the American magazine, on 20 years of Narendra Modi, and my point was that the collective wisdom of the people of India, he has rarely disappointed. As Prasad Babu was saying, that there is hardly an indicator for democratic governance where you can say that he has not delivered. So it's indeed a matter of pride for us as Indians that we are living in this era. Next, I would request my dear friend and mentor and senior colleague, Professor Chintamani Mahapatra, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of JNU and the founder of the Kading Institute of Indo-Pacific Studies, which is an upcoming think tank based here in Bhubaneswar to promote understanding of world affairs. Professor Chintamani Mahapatra is a very widely published scholar and now of course administering one of the major universities of our country. Over to you, sir, please.
Vande Utkala Janaku. His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Odisha, Professor in Nationality, very distinguished people in the dais and distinguished people in the audience and dear students. About 4 years ago, I thought that I would set up a think tank, and my inspiration was Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Along with a younger colleague from Ravenshaw University, Dr. Netaji Abhinandan, I set up a think tank registered in Bhubaneswar about 4 years ago. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about Act East, बहुत लंबा साल चल गया Look East, now let's Act East. That inspired me to have a think tank in Odisha. Because as Professor Saho, who is sitting here, would argue, Odisha has been recognized for centuries, in Sarada's Mahabharata, in Ramayana, in Skanda Purana. There are so many other Puranas, even in Kalidas, mentioning about Odisha and saying that at one point of time, Bay of Bengal was known as Kalinga Sea. And he said the emperor of Odisha was the lord of the sea. And Odisha had trade and commerce with so many countries in the world, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region. So when the Prime Minister says Indo-Pacific, I thought it is my duty, being the son of the soil here, why not start something and sensitize people, train younger scholars to study, understand, analyze developments in a region which is so critical to India's national interest. And ladies and gentlemen, in 4 years, we have done reasonably all right. About 33,000 people from around the world have visited our website. On a monthly basis, about 25,000 people, they have impressions in our Facebook of caves. In such a short time, we have produced about 400 articles. We have organized about 30 webinars in spite of the pandemic that's going on around the world. And we are doing pretty well. So this particular event was organized along with Rambagh. I feel honored and respected that they thought that GIPS is the right kind of body to organize such an event in Odisha, in Bhubaneswar, to discuss the personality of a man and 20 years of his leadership. A person, a political leader who is very, very innovative in thought as well as the deed. There are not many political leaders who would have both the out-of-the-box thinking and out-of-the-box doing. And of course, during the day, our panelist will definitely describe how Narendra Modi ji is an innovative thinker, a political leader, and a doer. And the keynote address was so wonderful. The way he talked about democracy, delivering democracy. I'm not supposed to say all this, but I'm tempted to take a few more minutes and comment on this democracy business. For a long time, about 40 years, I have been a student of American politics. And the person who taught me happened to be Professor Venkatramani, who was the father of American studies in India. A couple of decades ago, he wrote an article in Frontline. The title of the article, 43% democracy, the United States of America. And today, they are branding India as partial democracy. When the American Constitution was made, people sitting in that convention hall, their main goal was to restrict democracy. And finally, when they came up with a document, American Constitution, great Professor Charles Beard, who wrote a book on economic interpretation of American Constitution, he underlined, bold, quote unquote, American Constitution is an elitist document. American Constitution accepted slavery for quite a few years after being in operation. It took almost 100 years for the Americans after the Civil War to give right to vote to the African Americans. 1860s to 1960s. And today again, they're looking at India and trying to judge India, how much India is a democracy. I would say fire from them. For simple reason that in my country, those who are not educated, those who have not got the opportunity to go to even school, they go and vote and change the governments. Not once, many, many times. Politically so conscious. A PhD in political science may not go to the vote. But in my country, even the illiterates, they go to vote. They are politically aware and conscious and exercise their vote. In a country like India, with thousands of languages, publication in 100 languages, all kinds of religion you can imagine under the sun, and of course the kind of caste system we have, and the linguistic differences, all kinds of differences. If we are running a democracy since 1947, it is the best ever experiment of human laboratory and political governance in human history. In human history. It is very easy to have 97,000 people running a democracy, or Singapore, a city-state running a democracy, but look at India. Look at India and size and the number of people and the type of diversities, and we have a running democracy for 7 decades plus. So I think the topic has been very well selected, and we are going to deliberate upon it. Finally, I would just like to underline one thing to add to what our keynote speaker so beautifully presented his views on democracy. In the same virtual democracy summit, Narendra Modi ji said a point which is so very important. He said, democracy within countries, okay, you discuss, debate, and the process must go on. However, democracy in international relations, there are dictators and there are victims. Should we not have democratic decision making on key issues that affects the mankind and all the countries? It took only an Indian and out-of-the-box thinker to articulate like that. Salute to him. So with these brief words, I really thank you very much for giving me a patient listening. Namaskar.
At least in the international discourse, and it's time that we challenge the established knowledge systems that have prioritized the liberal Western model over all other models. Haraprasad Babuji was talking about Francis Fukuyama. These were all people who gave liberal democracy the thumbs up, and all other forms were seen as inferior. So there is a kind of intellectual hegemony that needs to be broken, and all our speakers have been saying it. अब मैं हिंदी में थोड़ा सा बोलूँगा. माननीय राज्यपाल जी हैं यहाँ पर, हरियाणा से हैं, मैं हरियाणा में पढ़ाता हूँ, तो उनकी उपस्थिति में एक चीज़ मैं कहना चाहूँगा उन्हें बुलाने से पहले, कि जो राष्ट्रीय परिषद हमारी हुई थी रामभाव की दिल्ली में मोदी जी के 20 वर्ष के पूर्ति पर, उस समय एक उसका जो सार है, मैं आपको एक ही विषय पर बताऊंगा कि मोदी जी की क्या खास व्यक्तित्व है और उनकी क्या उपलब्धियां हैं. अनेक हैं. ये एक चीज़ है जिस पर बहुत चर्चा हुआ था और जो सामने आया था उस वक्त, वो था कि दायित्व क्या है आपके एक नागरिक के तौर पर. इस पर उन्होंने ज़्यादा जोर दिया है बजाय लोक लुभावनवाद के, जिसमें handouts, everybody receives, and this whole welfare populism has become a model in itself of whether you want to call it governance or of dependence of the society and of the poor on the state. But he has always emphasized दायित्व क्या है. वो हमेशा कहते हैं कि आप देश के लिए कुछ करिए, अपने समाज के लिए कुछ करिए, देश के लिए मरना तो दूर, कम से कम जी तो लीजिए उसके लिए. तो ये देखिए प्रेरणा की नेताओं के अंदर एक जो महान नेता होता है उनमें एक खास उनका योगदान होता है कि समाज को और नागरिकों को प्रेरित करना. तो ये आप सोचिए, has there been anyone else who has inspired this country other than Narendra Modi, right from 2001 or even before when he was just a pracharak? What are your responsibilities? हमें सबूत डेमोक्रेसी रे हक, माने rights, we always have the language of rights, and of course there's a lot of social injustices and we do need rights for empowerment. But what about duties? Instead of asking and always depending on the state, what are you giving back? Or to use the JFK standard, ask not what your country has given you, but what you are doing for your country. That is the kind of mindset change, paradigmatic change that I think Narendra Modi has tried to bring about. एक जो हमारी मूल सोच है, आमूलचूल परिवर्तन उसमें, वो मेरे ख्याल से वो आप उसको आप टेंजिबली देख नहीं सकते हैं, बट इट इज देयर इन द सोसाइटी वे पीपल आर सेइंग मैं एक जिम्मेदार नागरिक बनूंगा, मैं कुछ करूंगा देश के लिए और दुनिया के लिए, मैं अपना कुछ कोई बलिदान दूंगा, मैं कोई अपने तरफ से कुछ योगदान दूंगा। तो ये बात आप सोचिए कितना गहरा है। और duties and rights we often say are two sides of the same coin. The Modi ji's greatest virtue which came out in the national level conference was he reminds all of us as if he is like
डॉक्टर श्रीराम जी हैं जो ओम प्रकाश जिंदल यूनिवर्सिटी के फाउंडर कहिए, मालिक कहिए, सब कुछ हैं। और आप सभी प्रतिभावान बुद्धिजीवी मनीषी सब लोग यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं, सबको अभिवादन करता हूँ, प्रणाम करता हूँ। जय कृष्णामूर्ति जी ने एक थॉट दिया कि all outward forms of change brought about by wars, revolutions and the ideologies have completely failed to change the basic instinct in a man. And the world generally asks, can this world based on brutality, competition, fear can ever come to an end? Well, it is possible if and only if each of us considers himself responsible for this state of affairs. That is what Krishnamurti speaks. One can have a glimpse of the light within, which the perhaps West does not understand, you see. Provided one is free from the dogmas, the conclusions and the authorities. भारत में डेमोक्रेसी का एक नया शब्द वीरेंद्र प्रसाद जी ने दिया है। हम एक पोएम पढ़ते थे जब डाउन कथा के फॉर फार्म्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट लेट फूल्स कॉन्टेस्ट, व्हाटएवर इज बेस्ट इज एडमिनिस्टर्ड बेस्ट, ऐसा हम पढ़ते थे। मैं अभी तक दुनिया के उस आदमी की तलाश में हूं जिस समिट की बात कर रहे हैं, 200 देशों की बात भी हम करते हैं, मैं उस आदमी की तलाश में हूं in which the love of power in him becomes the fire and the fire in him becomes the power of love. अभी तक मुझको उस व्यक्ति की तलाश है जो सत्ता प्रेम पर प्रेम की सत्ता को अधिष्ठित करना चाहता, जो सत्ता की संस्कृति पर संस्कृति की सत्ता को प्रतिष्ठा देना चाहता है। वो मंगल में जीवन नहीं, जीवन में मंगल की तलाश लिए घूमता। वो पद नहीं पाद सेवन पर विश्वास करता। वो संपन्नता को प्रपन्नता के चरणों में न्यौछावर करना चाहता। वो भीम भोई की तरह सर्वे हुई एकाकार, नथी में वेद रविचार। वह गोप बंधोत्कल मणि के तरह मन में गुनगुनाता हो कि जिसकी जाति मनुष्य है, जिसका धर्म मनुष्यता है, जिसका देश अखिल विश्व है और जो शासित होता हो प्रभु जगन्नाथ से, ऐसे व्यक्ति की तलाश मैं कर रहा, सोचता हूं, करता हूं। पूरे विश्व की तरफ जब नजर दौड़ाता हूं तो लगता है कि कहीं डेमोक्रेसी की आड़ में या किसी और चीज की आड़ में कहीं ग्लोबल वार्मिंग या ग्लोबल टेररिज्म या ग्लोबल एक्सपेंशनिज्म के पक्षधर तो वो नहीं है। कैसे कैसे intellectual diplomacies and intellectual strategies and diplomacies and political clumsiness, कैसे caste, creed, color, cunningness, cleverness, conspiracy and corruption, कैसे कैसे हथियार just hidden under the garment of intellectual diplomacy आप कह सकते हैं। ऐसे लोग समिट बुलाएं, बात करें, हमको समझाएं, कोई बात नहीं है, हम कमला का वेट कर रहे हैं अगले साल प्रेसिडेंट बनने के लिए, चिंता का कोई कारण नहीं है यूएस का, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स का। इसलिए ये समाज में जिसे समिट बुलाया और जो जो उन्होंने कहा, जिसे जिसे कहा, इसकी कौन चिंता करता है? मैं तो एक लाइन पर चल रहा हूं ना, इसलिए मुझको चिंता करने की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं। आफ्टर ऑल जीसस को क्रूसिफिकेशन के बाद क्राइस्ट भी तो इसी समाज ने बनाया, जॉन ऑफ आर्क को सेंट जॉन इसी समाज ने बनाया, गांधी को महात्मा जी इसी सरकार ने बनाया, और जो सुई की नोक पर जगह भी नहीं दूंगा उसको भी हमने पूरी नारायणी सेना देने के बाद भी फिर भी भगवान कृष्ण उसी को बनाया जिसको श्रृंखला में बांधने चले थे। समाज ने कभी यश जीते जी किसी को कब दिया है? लेकिन वर्ल्ड ने दुनिया भर के तगमे उनको दिए हैं, पूरे विश्व में माना है, सर्व मित्र है, सर्व प्रिय है, चरित्र और साहस के आधार पर है, दूसरों की बातों का सुनने की उसमें क्षमता है। भारत में डेमोक्रेसी, अंबेडकर कहते थे सोशल डेमोक्रेसी चाहिए, कानून के द्वारा किसी की रक्षा नहीं कर सकते, यू कैन नॉट प्रोटेक्ट। अंदर का आत्मा चाहिए, कॉन्साइंस चाहिए, वह प्रोटेक्ट करती है। लोकनायक जयप्रकाश ने पार्टीलेस डेमोक्रेसी का बात किया, पर भारत में तो अनादिकाल से वी आर फॉर दिस स्पिरिचुअल डेमोक्रेसी, स्पिरिचुअल डेमोक्रेसी। अब जिनको स्पिरिट का समझ नहीं, उनको स्पिरिचुअल डेमोक्रेसी समझ में नहीं आएगा, इसलिए उनको दोष देना बेकार है। Let the world turn round the sun. The sun is not going to turn round the world. As long as you wish to be here, you will be here, there and everywhere in the world. इसलिए मैं जाना जाऊं गुजरात के द्वारा, मैं जाना जाऊं भारत के द्वारा, ऐसा नहीं, मैं जाना जाऊं विश्व के द्वारा, ये भी कम है, मैं जाना जाऊं यूनिवर्स के द्वारा, ब्रह्मांड के द्वारा। दैट इज व्हाट माय प्रयास है। जो मैंने पहली बात कही थी कि सत्ता प्रेम के ऊपर, प्रेम की सत्ता को अधिष्ठित करना, ये प्रयास जो करता है वो ब्रह्मांड में जाना जाता है, उससे ब्रह्मांड जाना जाता है, उससे ब्रह्मांड जाना जाता है। मैं स्पिरिट लाइक मैं हूँ, उड़ीसा का जन हूँ, उड़ीसा है, फिर भारत है, फिर विश्व है, फिर यूनिवर्स है, एंड दैट इज। बच्चा स्कूल में क्यों जाता है, कॉलेज में क्यों जाता है, यूनिवर्सिटी में क्यों जाता है? यूनिवर्स, यूनिवर्सिटी एंड यूनिवर्सल मैन आर जस्ट इंटररिलेटेड इन द वे दैट जीरो गॉड एंड इंफिनिटी आर इंटररिलेटेड इन द वर्ड्स ऑफ रामानुजन। ये सब आपस में जुड़े हुए हैं। दुनिया के लोगों की सोच, आई वॉन्ट क्रिटिसाइज, कंपार्टमेंटलाइजेशन की है। भारत की सोच स्पिरिचुअल लाइक है, इसलिए उसको देर लगता है। इसलिए मुझे कुछ ऐसा करना पड़ेगा। ये वर्ल्ड ग्लोबल विलेज है, आई कैन नॉट बी डाइवोर्स्ड, मैं उससे आइसोलेट नहीं हो सकता। ये वर्ल्ड अगर ग्लोबल विलेज है तो मुझे कुछ ऐसा करना पड़ेगा। मैं बात नहीं डीबीटी की करूंगा, आयुष्मान भारत की भी नहीं करूंगा, मैं भारत की बेटी की अस्मिता के लिए तलाक की बात भी नहीं करूंगा, मैं भारत एक भारत होना चाहिए, 370 जाना चाहिए, उसकी बात भी नहीं करूंगा। आई वोंट टॉक लाइक दैट एलिगेंट एडिफिस ऑफ अयोध्या, राम जन्मभूमि, उस पर भगवान का प्रेम, इसकी बात भी नहीं करूंगा। मैं बात ऐसी करूंगा, मैं बात ऐसी करना चाहता हूं जो उन्होंने विश्व को एक करने का जिसमें प्रयास किया है। Let us move into the world with a global, with a flower pot in our hands. All the nations can live together while complementing to each other, of course, preserving their own beauties and fragrance. अपनी सुगंध कायम करके सारा विश्व एक हो सकता है। आप अपनी सुगंध प्रदान कीजिए, हम अपनी सुगंध प्रदान करते हैं। सबका साथ, सबका विकास भारत के लिए नहीं है, ये बात छुपा के रखा है, ये पूरे विश्व के लिए, पूरे दुनिया में घूमकर हम इस बात को कहना चाहते हैं। हम बिग इंडस्ट्री, लार्ज स्केल टेक्नोलॉजी के पक्षधर नहीं, हम सनराइज टेक्नोलॉजी के पक्षधर हैं। मकड़ी का जाला भी चले, बया का घोंसला भी चले, एडिसन की लाइट भी चले और सनराइज भी चले, सूर्य की किरणें भी चले। हमें परहेज नहीं है एकेडमिक एक्सीलेंस से, पर स्पिरिचुअल एक्सीलेंस के बगैर कुछ बन नहीं सकता है। बहुत कोशिश, अर्जुन के पास कौन सा टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं था, पर टेक्नोलॉजी को दिशा देने का काम, दीक्षांत समारोह ऐसे थोड़ा होते हैं। शिक्षांत के बाद दीक्षांत भी तो होता है। एकेडमिक एक्सीलेंस के साथ स्पिरिचुअल एक्सीलेंस चाहिए ही चाहिए, चाहिए ही चाहिए। इसलिए कुछ ऐसा देना पड़ेगा विश्व को। हमने दिया और यूएनओ ने माना, वेल दैट इज योगा। ये कोई सांस लेने की एक्सहेलिंग और इनहेलिंग की प्रक्रिया नहीं है। अगर एक्सहेलिंग और इनहेलिंग भी हो तो मैं इनहेल करूंगा आलस्य को, आसक्ति को, अहंकार को, और एक्सहेल करूंगा ब्यूटी और लाइट और पीस को। अगर इसको आप सांस लेने और छोड़ने की प्रक्रिया भी अगर मानते हैं, पर दिस इज नथिंग लाइक दैट। यू सी, इट इज ट्रस्टीशिप, इट इज अनटू दिस लास्ट, इट इज सर्वोदय, इट इज अंत्योदय, it is the union, it is the merging and the converging of the soul and with the super soul. I am leading an active life, but my inner life is anchored to my spiritual life, eternal life. उसके साथ मैं जुड़ा हूं। ये बात आस्था 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 21 जून को छोड़ दीजिए, पूरा दिन 21 जून बनेगा पूरा साल का। पूरा विश्व इस बात को रिकॉग्नाइज करेगा someday or the other, and the time is coming very short also. बहुत जल्दी से समय आ रहा है, देर नहीं लगने वाली। श्रद्धेय हर प्रसाद दास जी बैठे हैं, चिंतामणि जी बैठे हैं, हमारे श्रीराम जी बैठे हैं, और आप सब इंटेलेक्चुअल बैठे हैं। क्या नहीं कर सकते? कौन सी छलांग नहीं लगा सकते? अगर एक हनुमान समुद्र को लांघ सकता है छलांग में, तो हम क्या नहीं कर सकते? केवल थोड़ा सा विचार करने की आवश्यकता है, थोड़ा सा अंदर देखने की आवश्यकता है। केवल मोदी ने अपने आप को अंदर देखने का प्रयास किया है, दैट्स ऑल। जंगलों में घूमता रहा, पर्वतों में घूमता रहा 2 साल तक। 17 साल की उम्र में आके फिर बुहारी देना, संकालने में करना, 15-15 साल लगा देना। और उनका जीवन देखो, बचपन देखो, तो 8-10 साल की उम्र में पीला फूल करके ड्रामा रचना, नाटककार बनना, साहित्यकार बनना, डायरेक्टर बनना, एक्टर बनना। लेकिन दलित समाज की बेटियों को मंदिर में प्रवेश दिलाना, और दलित समाज की बेटी को ही पीएचडी का रिवार्ड कराना, और दलित समाज की बेटियों से ही अपने सिक्योरिटी जन्स को राखी बंधवाना। ऑल इज वन, ऑल आर वन से हम मतभेद रखते हैं। चाइना कहता होगा, रशिया कहता होगा, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स कहता होगा, पर हम अद्वैत, हॉलिस्टिक, नॉन ड्यूलिस्टिक, प्लूरलिस्टिक, इंक्लूसिवनेस, भारत का संस्कृति का जो तत्व दर्शन है, ज्ञान है, वो हम दुनिया को देख घूम घूम कर बता रहे हैं। पहले चक्र में हो सकता है हमने कुछ बातें और ढंग से की होंगी, लेकिन हमने अंडर द कारपेट सब दुनिया को बताने का कोशिश किया है। लगातार बता रहे हैं, बताते जाएंगे। और जो हमने सपना सोचा हुआ है, हम उसके लिए गर्व नहीं करते, बड़ाई भी नहीं करते हैं। एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत, विश्व वंदनीय भारत फिर से बनेगा, इसी जगह बनेगा, और इसी के कारण बनेगा, और आप सबके कारण से बनेगा, आप सबके प्रयास से बनेगा, हम सबके प्रयास से बनेगा। ऐसा मेरा लगभग इस बात को सोचना है। अभी कुछ बातें कही गई थी, तो मैं वो धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करना चाहता हूँ उसके बारे में, और अंत में अपनी बात को 1-2 लाइनों में समाप्त करना चाहूंगा। भगवान कृष्ण योग के लिए कहते हैं, कई बहुत श्लोक है, योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धि असिद्धियो समो भूत्वा समत्वम योग उच्यते। हम समत्व पैदा करेंगे विश्व में, रोक नहीं सकता। समा सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वर ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामैव सर्वभूत हिते रतः। चाहे महात्मा गांधी का राजघाट देखिए, चाहे चाइना का कन्फ्यूशियस देखिए, या यूनान का सुकरात देखिए, किसी को भी देखिए, ये सब उड़ीसा की संस्कृति के पुजारी हैं। प्रभु जगन्नाथ उड़ीसा का प्राण है। उड़ीसा की संस्कृति उड़ीसा की नहीं है, भारत की नहीं है, विश्व की नहीं है, ब्रह्मांडीय है, कॉस्मिक है मानव संस्कृति। उस मानव संस्कृति को लेकर चल रहे हैं मेरे देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री। हम नतमस्तक होकर उनका अभिवादन करते हैं, प्रणाम करते हैं, और आप सब जो लोग यहाँ उपस्थित हैं उन सबको भी प्रणाम करते हैं। वंदे उत्कल जननी भारत माता की जय।